Eric Eazy Wright. I had the chance to attend the Eazy Street celebration in the city of Compton this past week. And I gotta say, it's all come full circle. And what I mean by that is Eazy-E is the reason I fell in love with hip hop. NWA and Eazy-E. Yes, at that point, I had heard the Fat Boys. I had heard Run DMC. I had heard Sugar Hill Gang. But when I heard Eazy-E rapping and his very distinct voice, I instantly gravitated towards it, and I instantly needed more. For me, it started in the city of Bell Gardens. Late 80s. And my homeboy back then, Ruben, who lived on the same block as I did, shout out to Colmar Avenue in the city of Bell Gardens. The homeboy Ruben played this tape every time his mom would leave the house, and I started picking up the fact that he would only play it when his mom left. And we would bump it loud. And to this day, I don't know where he got it, because I remember he did have a nice system in his house. He had like a, remember back in the day, I don't know, you kids won't know what I'm talking about, but you had a big stereo system. You had like 2 big speakers attached to it, and you had this glass door that opened, and you put your tapes inside, and you had your tapes on the bottom and your records right there. You kids have no idea what I'm talking about. But this was the late 80s, and that sound system was the shit. And I just remember it rocking the house. And he would play Eazy-E and NWA. I don't remember if it was an original copy or a copy that he copied from somebody that copied it from somebody, but I remember hearing that, thinking, this is amazing. I remember hearing that, thinking, they're talking about stuff that I'm seeing in my own neighborhood. 1989 Bell Gardens was about as bad as it sounds. Bell Gardens is still a rough town, and it was rough back then. So they're talking about shit that I'm seeing myself. And keep in mind, I just came from East Long Beach. I just moved from East Side Long Beach. So I'm picking up on these things, right? But I'll never forget hearing that squeaky voice, thinking like, I think I even thought that they were messing with his voice in the studio or something. Like, that can't be his real voice. But that was his real voice. I'm talking about this because I got the opportunity to visit Eazy Street and to be a part of the celebration and the unveiling of Eazy Street. Such a great time. Such an amazing experience. And quite honestly, it took me back to being a kid. Because I love hip hop. I love rap music. Specifically, I've always loved West Coast music, West Coast gangster rap, if you will. So when I was there, it was just like being a kid, man. And I was that 11-year-old kid again, listening to NWA. Because I tripped out because I was looking around me and there were so many people my age and above me who I bet had a similar story. NWA and Eazy-E. Everybody had that tape. After that, I needed more, so I started looking for more, and I found the tape. And then everybody had the tape in Bell Gardens. Everybody. It wasn't really at our age. Like, if you had an older brother, the older brother had the tape. Man. Listening to that music and knowing that you're not supposed to listen to that music was even more dope. Even more of a like, oh my God, man, I can get in trouble. And a lot of kids did get in trouble. I remember my best friend, Camille, my best friend to this day, his pops was not having any gangster music at all. You know, and this was, you know, 90s. Wasn't happening. It was different back then, guys. Take yourself back to 1988 and a group called Niggas with Attitude comes out. The word nigga was not a very popular word back then. The N-word was something that was looked at as a derogatory thing. If someone called you the N-word, especially someone from your race, even someone from your race, it was seen as an insult. I love talking with my friend, mentor, co-host, Alonzo Williams, who is responsible for launching the careers of Eazy and NWA. Just hearing him talk about things, and one thing that he did talk about was when he was coming up, when a black man called another black man the N-word, those were fighting words. It wasn't like, oh, that's my nigga. What's up, my nigga? Yeah, nigga, what's up? It wasn't none of that. It was like, man, you punk ass nigga. You don't go nigga up your car. Like, you know, little things like that. It was a put down. It was an insult. The N-word was nothing. Nah, man, you were lower than thou if you were called yourself the N-word or someone called you the N-word. So fast forward to 1988. 1986 even. I mean, that's when NWA and the Posse first came out, I do believe, if my memory serves me correct. Take yourself back to 1986, and this group called NWA comes out. Imagine how to market that. How does one market that? I remember the first time someone told me what NWA stood for. If I'm not mistaken, we were in front of a movie theater and he was wearing an NWA hat. And at that point, I had already knew who NWA was, but I wanted to ask him, what does NWA stand for? What does that mean? And this Mexican cat tells me niggas with attitude, just like that. And back then, we didn't care about shit like that, right? It was like, oh, he didn't mean it like, you know, derogatory. He was just telling me it means niggas with attitude. And he said it like that. He didn't say it with the hard ER nut. He said it the hood way. And that's just, look, that's why Latinos, I don't care. Look, go ahead. I don't care. Whoever says the N-word, whatever, do your thing. You know what I mean? Like, but I do feel like if you come from the hood and that's just your language, just go for it. I mean, I'm not going to use it. And personally, I don't really like when people use it. But like, if that's your thing and you grew up in the hood, I don't give a fuck what race you are. Because when you grow up in a place like Long Beach, whether it's Asian, Latino, black, white, everybody's so close to each other in proximity, everyone starts talking the same. So that's why I really don't care. Like, I have no problem with I don't like the word. Like, I don't use it in my personal life unless it's in certain contexts, like I'm talking to you guys right now, or in satire. But if you grew up in the hood, I don't care what race you are. If that's how you were raised, say the goddamn word. Who cares? It's a stupid word anyway, the N-word. I hate, like, the older I get, the more I hate that word. The older I get, the more I dislike that word. Like, we shouldn't be proud to call each other N-words. We shouldn't be proud to be a nigga. Like, let's be honest. Like, let's step away from Eazy and NWA for a second and talk about the N-word. What is a nigga? A nigga is somebody who will rob your ass and then help you look for the shit that they just robbed. A nigga, for the most part, brags about being uneducated. Man, I don't know shit like that, nigga. Yo, man, stop acting white. Let's keep it real. Most black people don't like niggas, just like most white people don't like niggas. And when I say nigga, that is a very small population. Unfortunately, the rest of America sees it as a majority of the population. But me, being inside the bubble, I know that niggas are a very small population. And in my opinion, Niggas come in all shapes and sizes, all races. Because going back to my point earlier, if you grew up saying it, you identify as that, then you're that. So when I say the word, and the nigga word, and I'm trying not to say it too much so YouTube doesn't just keep giving me BS, but N-words come in all shapes, sizes, creeds, colors, races, sexes, genders. But you shouldn't be proud to be a nigga. You can be proud to be a black man. You can be proud to be a white man. You can be proud to be a Latino. But don't be proud to be a nigga. Like, niggas have not gotten. Yeah, just don't be proud. Very few niggas have gotten far being niggas. There's a great Chris Rock HBO special that I love. And he has a segment in it where he talks about the difference between blacks and niggas. And go to YouTube and check that out. If you don't know the difference between a black person and a nigga, you're probably a racist, or you're a dumb nigga. But if you don't know the difference between a black person and a nigga, go check out Chris Rock. All right, I think I've said the N-word enough for YouTube's algorithm, so we're going to continue. Back to Eazy-E, man. It was a great time at the celebration. I had an amazing time. Like I said earlier, it took me back to being a kid. Anything hip-hop like that just gives me warm fuzzies, you know what I mean? And great vibes. It was great vibes. I was a little skeptical, as anyone unfortunately is nowadays going to an event in the city of Compton. Unfortunately, you got to be skeptical because it's Compton, and we all know about Compton. There's a gang on every other street. I think Compton, at one point, if not to this day, has the most gangs in like square mileage. Like there are a lot of gangs in Compton. So first off top, when I get there, I get there early because I'm helping Lonzo out. I'm helping, them build, pack, set up and all that, right? But off top, I'm one of the first people there, and I park easy access to where I can get out if I need to. You back in first. Anybody who lives in the hood or has lived in the hood or goes to the hood or knows about the hood, if you know some shit may go down, you don't park your car in directly. You don't pull in just like you would, front first. You actually back into the stall. That way, if something goes down, you can hop in your motherfucking car and not have to worry about backing up and everybody else is trying to back up. You can hop in your car and go to the left or the right. So off top, when I got there, I found the best parking spot for that. You want to call me a punk if you want, but hey, I'm still living, and I'll probably be little things like that, people. Thankfully, nothing went down. But that's what you got to do. Things like that. Look. When you've been in as many unfortunate drive-by type situations that I've been in when I was younger, just being a regular civilian, I couldn't even imagine being a gangster back in the 90s. I was just a regular civilian, and it seems like I was in a drive-by every other week. Just being around in the proximity. Like, I'll go to a freaking party and they start shooting outside, or they start shooting inside. Man, dude, I got stories for days on just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But in the 90s, when it was really, really popping, every place was the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately. But nothing went down in the city of Compton at the Eazy Street celebration. And I am so proud of the city of Compton for making this happen. Oh, so proud. Because last thing we needed was the news running with some bullshit. Told you guys this was going to happen. Thankfully, nothing went down. And there was every color you can think of, guys. Black, brown. Shit, we had red, blue, and we had brown, sureño. We had like everything, dog. Tattoos everywhere. Everywhere. And nothing happened. All in respect of Eazy-E. I had lunch with Lonzo shortly after the Eazy celebration. And man, I asked him, what kind of feedback did you get? He said, I got great feedback, man. Everybody loved it. Everybody had a great time. People who shot at other people back in the day were partying next to each other. Literally. I'm not just saying that to say literally. Someone that Lonzo knows told him that he ran into the guy who busted on him back in the day. And here they are taking a picture together years later. Dude said he still had fragments of bullet in his body from homeboy busting on him. And here they are at the Eazy-E celebration. Chilling, taking pictures together. Oh, man. But NWA was never meant to go mainstream. NWA was meant for the hood. But that tape started traveling all throughout the country. Someone's cousin in LA gave it to their cousin in Michigan. It was like, hey, check out this crew. Oh, man, let me take this back to Michigan. Record me a copy. He takes it back to Michigan and introduces it to his friend. That dude in Michigan takes it down to Alabama in the summertime. Hey, check out this group. They're crazy. They're from LA. They're from the West Coast. Compton. They put Compton on the map. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever. They put Compton on the map. Compton. The hub city. Compton has an interesting history. A lot of famous white people have lived in Compton back in the day. George Bush. Yes, that George Bush apparently had a house in Compton. Of course, this is we're going back 60, 70 probably years. I'm just, it's not like we're talking 2003 Bush was posted up in Compton. No. This is way back in the day, back when there were white people. I do believe Marilyn Monroe has a connection with Compton somehow. Compton, the hub city. And they call it the hub city because it's in the middle of everything in LA. It's right in the middle. It's adjacent to everything. Compton back in the day was a place that a lot of black folks moved to, and it was seen as the American dream for black people in the 70s. Early 70s, maybe even late 60s, but definitely early 70s. They came in droves from the South and other places looking for work. We had a lot of factories. We had a Boeing factory down here. We had a lot of plants in Gardena and Hawthorne and, places like that. They were building spaceships and shit. But Compton was seen as a place where you can buy an affordable home. A place where your family would be safe, send them to school, work at that factory for 30 years, buy yourself a home for $25,000 and retire and live in the city of Compton. And when I say $25,000, I'm not joking. My Aunt Rosemary has lived in the city of Compton since 1969. And she told me she bought her house for $28,000. $28,000. Could you imagine that? $28,000. So a lot of folks came and they had a lot of black businesses. And people loved it. It was a great deal. And then something called crack entered. And that messed everything up. Took everything to a whole other level. Oh, man. Compton turned into the murder capital almost overnight. And when I say that, I'm not joking. Compton was in the top 10 most deadliest places to live in the United States. Almost overnight. White people left, all the Marilyn Monroes, all the George Bushes, they left. They've been gone. They've been gone. They've been gone. But there were still black businesses. You still had a shoe repair shop, maybe a tailor down the street. You had a clothes company down the street. You had your downtown where you went, maybe there was, there was a Sears. There was a Sears where the Compton Swap Meet used to be. You had stuff. You had black businesses. And then guess what happened when crime went up due to the crack epidemic? Guess what happened to the black businesses? Gone. And everyone else started moving in and owned businesses. And now, I would bet money that less than 10% of businesses in Compton are black owned. When maybe 45 or maybe 45, 50 years ago, I would venture that a much higher percentage, way higher percentage, were black owned. How can you keep your business open when there's crime all around you for this little white rock thing that has the streets going crazy? What do? I'll tell you what you do. You leave. Now there's no black businesses. Once again, going back to Lonzo, and I'm going to reference him throughout this because he is the reason that Eazy Street happened. No matter what you hear, at the end of the day, Alonzo Williams is the reason that Eazy Street happened. Everyone else is talking about it. Lonzo did it. So I just want to get that out there because a lot of media coverage and a lot of media sources didn't mention his name, which kind of upset me. Because he's the reason that this happened. But anyway, when I talked to him, he used to tell me about back in the day when he was a kid and most businesses in Compton were black. And he said all of a sudden that just disappeared. I love Compton. Compton has always has a special place in my heart. I've never been afraid to go to Compton. There are places in LA that I do not fuck with. I'm not going to tell you which ones because I don't want you to call me a B or anything. But there are certain places in LA that I'm just like, unless I really got to be there, I ain't going there. But Compton, I always feel comfortable no matter where I go in Compton. I feel comfortable. Yes, you got to look over your shoulder. It's any other big city. It's any other city in LA. But I'm not afraid of Compton. But my experience with Compton goes back to 1992 when I met my best friend. He lived in Compton, right on Castlegate, right off of Alondra and Atlantic. And he was the reason I even started going to Compton on a regular basis. I was there almost every day at some point. Still my best friend to this day, and I was just going there, and I knew all the places around. We eat at all the restaurants, the Golden Bird that was right there. The 2-for-1 pizza joint. We'd do that. We'd, rent a video. So I always loved Compton. And he lived right down the street from Kelly Park. Literally, you could throw a rock and hit it. Right down the street from Kelly Park. And I remember when we were kids, it was really exciting because they were filming the Steady Dipping video. Right there. And yeah, We obviously weren't able to go there, but we play at Kelly Park every single day, play basketball all the time. Me, my best friend and his brothers. And dude, it was the 90s. Keep in mind, 92 was real. It was real. And we were just civilians, but it was not uncommon, let's just say, to have to go home early, let's just say, because, shots rang out. It was the 90s, man. But yes, city of Compton should be proud of themselves. You guys came and you did your damn thing. And thank you to everyone who was involved in this. It wasn't just Alonzo Williams. It was the city council people. There were several other people who were responsible and are responsible for this happening. But man, there was a lot of celebrities there. You guys got to see the video that I did this week. If you didn't, check out the archives of the video that I did of my experience at the Eazy East Street celebration. But man, celebrities everywhere. There's media everywhere. There was a good police presence, which I really liked also. It was a nice police presence. That was a good plus. Once again, shout out to the sheriffs. You did a great job. Thank you guys for holding it down, and just thank you for everyone for just a great time. It was a beautiful day. It was about maybe 79, 80, 81 degrees, something along those lines. The sky was blue, man, and there was actually, I was talking to Lonzo, going back to Lonzo. I wanted to tell you guys this earlier. We were talking at lunch, and he told me that that's the first time that he could remember pretty much ever. First time he could remember where there were all ages at one event. Because usually in the city of Compton, it's all either a lot of young people or a lot of old people. Because the old people ain't trying to get mixed up in the young BS, because once a lot of youngsters get together, there's usually some BS. But he said this is the first time that he could remember in the city of Compton that there were all ages. And I could attest to that. There were everybody from 8 to 80 was there. And when I say that, I'm not BSing. Everyone from 8 years old to 80 years old was there. All different colors, black, brown, white, Asian. It was beautiful, people. It was beautiful. I as a hip hop fan, I'm legit ecstatic right now. I maybe sounding like I'm doing extra, but I'm not, dog. This shit's exciting. It was beautiful, yo. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. And I was glad that I got there to get it. I was there to experience it. Because once again, Eazy-E, he was the man. He was the man. And I know if there's a heaven, look, I'm not really a religious guy, but I'm going to use for a metaphor. If there's a heaven, Eazy's looking down right now. And he smiled that day. He smiled that day. Such good vibes. Black, brown, red, blue, Bloods, Crips, Outsiders, Asian gangs. It was dope. It was fucking dope. You guys don't know. But if you didn't get a chance, or I'm not painting a good enough picture, please check out my latest videos that I posted. Eazy Street. Just type in Dusty Vision Eazy Street, and it should pop up. Trust when I tell you, man, it was a great vibe, and I tried to get as much of that good vibe as I could on camera. Because I wanted to document that. I had to be there. I had to be there for hip-hop. And I'm so happy that I was. R.I.P. Eazy-E. And shout out to the city of Compton. Peace.